was your worst experience?
What was my worst experience? We were walking on the icy streets, and it was completely iced up, and the snow, of course, was also pretty high, but on top of the snow there was ice, and the bodies of people were frozen into the ice there, the ice and the snow, and body parts scattered here and there. And you know, I could walk. I was already 4.5, and my sister was carried because she was so little, but I could walk, and I was stumbling over the bodies and body parts, and at some point I fell over a dead woman, and she had her eyes open, and I was so scared I couldn't even make a sound. And somehow, even though I was only 4.5, now I understood what death meant. And you know what? I had nightmares for many, many years after that. I never forget this scene. This was an experience that I wish I never had.
Did you ever fully understand what was going on around you?
I didn't know any better. No, I just didn't know any better. When you are a kid, you don't understand things. You really don't. But you know what? The younger you were and the less you understood, I think the more affected you became.
Did anybody before the Holocaust expect this sort of thing to happen? Was it like inevitable? Did it just happen?
That's a very good question. In Germany, the Jews in Germany did not expect this to happen. The Jews in Germany considered themselves to be Germans first. And when Hitler took over, the Jews in Germany wore their World War I uniforms because they considered themselves Germans first. And when Hitler started moving east in 1939, the Germans invaded Poland. The Jews in Germany didn't really care because they considered themselves above the Jews in Eastern Europe. They looked down on the Jews in Eastern Europe. So they didn't think any of this would happen to them. But it did. And we have stories when they were in the death camps that the Jews in Germany wouldn't even associate with the Jews from Eastern Europe.
Were there any guards in the German death camps that actually opposed the Holocaust?
I guess there were, but they were afraid to do anything. That's a very good question. The guards in the camps were not always German. There were a lot of Polish, Ukrainian, and Lithuanian guards. And one thing you have to remember that I said earlier, the Germans, the Nazis, never could have done what they did unless the people from Poland, from Ukraine, from Lithuania helped them.
Family and friends put together, or did they go like to different camps?
The death camps were all in Poland. When they got to the camps, there was somebody there who would point to the left or to the right. Men and women were always separated. If pointing one way meant that you were sent to the gas chamber, pointing the other way meant that it looked like you could work. So they kept you alive for a while until you could work in the camp. But they didn't keep families together.